Okay, so we're unboxed and I've removed the protective film. We're now looking at the unit itself. In terms of quality, I really am impressed, and I say that quite seriously. It is at least equal to anything I've seen out of Apple or Nexus. It's certainly equal to the Google Nexus 7 in terms of quality. In fact, I'd argue it's a better quality unit than what I've seen from Nexus. Nicely finished. This trim's very nice. It's metal, not plastic. So the whole thing comes together really well. We've got our speaker here, rear camera. The camera is only 2 megapixels. Now, when we say only, remember the 2 megapixels still gives quite a good quality image. It uses a CMOS sensor, so the image quality should also be quite good, I would think. Your front camera is only 0.3 megapixels, so it's only for chatting on Skype or Hangouts or whatever it might be that you use. You've got your microphones here. Looking at the top, we've got the USB port, headset port, our on-off switch. That'll be your volume switch, up, down, reset button at the bottom here. So pretty standard in that regard, but as I said, the quality or the apparent quality of the unit is very good. Just running through the specs of this unit quickly. The resolution 1920 by 1200, which is fantastic for an 8-inch screen. Very, very good, especially for the money. Remember that I've paid $108 for this unit, $108 US. But it's competing directly with products that are selling for 3 times the price when we talk about a screen resolution of 1920 by 1200. The processor is the Intel Trial Bay Z3736F, which is the latest Trial Bay processor that runs at 2.16 gigahertz, or up to, that's the burst speed, and that is claimed to be 30% faster than its predecessor. I haven't used the processor previously. This is my first experience with it, so we're going to find out how good it is. It's obviously a dual boot system. It's Android and Windows. It's running Android 4.4 currently, but I have no doubt that it's upgradable to Android 5.1, given that it's using the latest processors anyway. And it's running Windows 8.1, a fully licensed version. So again, that's going to be easily upgraded to Windows 10. Now, I have upgraded my desktops and laptop to Windows 10 today, and I'm very impressed. There was no vibration when I turned it on. I expected to get it, but I didn't. It just comes up instead. So we've got Chuwi, Chewbacca coming up right now. Now, the screen pixel density is 283 pixels per inch, which, as I said earlier, very impressive for a tablet this size and certainly at this price. So we've got the Intel chip booting up. Waiting to see what happens. Waiting patiently. This is real time. There's no point in me stopping the video and cheating. There we go. We've got Android up now. As I said, this is Android 4.4 that we're looking at. Okay, typical of the electronic products I've bought out of China previously, it's loaded with Chinese apps. Right now, that's not an issue, because if you've had any experience with Android, you can just remove those. You go to the Play Store and download whatever apps you use in your normal events. Obviously, time's still got to get set and so on. We've got a camera, all the standard Android functions. It's obviously just a bog standard Android operating system that we're looking at currently. Our settings. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. It runs Bluetooth 4, by the way. So the latest version of Bluetooth, which again is very power efficient. Things I haven't covered, the unit standard out of the box has 2 GB of RAM, which again is very impressive for the price. It also has 32 GB of memory built in, and It's got the TF slot, looking at TF slot, there we go, got the TF slot here, which will allow you to handle another 64 gigabyte of RAM. So in total, it's giving you near enough to 100 gigabyte of memory, and that's running off the 2 gigabyte of RAM. So there's our standard Android unit, as I said. Now let's see what it takes to move to Windows. I doubt that the Windows button will work. No, it works for Android. So let's see where we go to. Okay, operating switch sitting here. So we've got Wi-Fi. Obviously I haven't connected to the Wi-Fi at this stage. All your standard type functionality of Android plus the operating system switch. Right? So it's not a hardware switch, it's a software switch. Let's see what the result is. Okay, powering off, it's obviously going to reboot, as it would need to do, or it reboots in order to protect whatever data you've been using with. If it's simply switched, I imagine there could be some data corruption as a result. Chuwi is obviously not a brand I'm familiar with, and probably most of you aren't familiar with it either. This is my first experience, but I repeat, very impressed with the unit, and especially with the bang for bucks at this point in time. Okay, so here we have Windows 8.1, obviously upgradable to Windows 10. Yep, so absolutely dead standard, bog standard again, Windows 8.1. Right, so everything that you would normally have sitting there, all your settings. Now the Windows button does obviously work. Yep, so all that's fine. It's PC. Okay, so you can see it's just running as a standard Windows machine, right, with all of the functionality that you would normally get with any Windows computer, whether it's a laptop, desktop, or in this case, a very sophisticated small tablet. I can see again, here's our software switch here to move across to Android. So the way to get to that, I can see, is simply to move to the PC. Once you've got the PC open, then you've got that software switch sitting there again. You've got the App Store, the Windows App Store, so again you can go download whatever you want from the App Store. So it's a fully functioning dual boot system. I'm impressed. Okay, so there we go. It's going to switch to the other operating system. So again, it'll obviously close down Windows and reboot the whole unit. Okay, $108, hard to argue.